Vicki Hogarth, and welcome to Southwest Magazine. My guest today needs no introduction. It's St. Stephen country singer and songwriter Shawn Richard. Before he sits down for an interview, though, let's hear him sing his debut single, All My Tomorrows.
My life would be nothing without you. Today, before, and now there's nothing new. They say when you know, you know, and I know that it's the truth. It's been a long time now, waiting for me, waiting for you. We could take one step back, or say that we're all through. Through love, life, and all our sorrows, I want you for all my tomorrows. My life would be nothing without you. Today, before, and now that's nothing new. You can say that it's all a lie, but I'm here to tell the truth. Through love, life, and all our sorrows, I want you for all my tomorrows. It's been 3 years in June since I laid my eyes on you. Since then I've lost, I've cried, I blinked and then I found you. But when I first met you for the second time, we gave up everything we had to give it one more try. My life would be nothing without you. Today, before, and now that's nothing new. You could say that it's all a lie, but I'm here to tell the truth. Through love, life, and all our sorrows, I want you for all my tomorrows. Let me love you. Let me hold you. Yeah. Let me love you. Let me hold you. My life would be nothing without you. Today, before, and now that's nothing new. You could say that it's all a lie, but I'm here to tell the truth. Through love, life, and all our sorrows, I want you for all my tomorrows. My life would be nothing without you. Today, before, and now there's nothing new. You could say that it's all a lie, but I'm here to tell the truth. Oh, through love, life, and all our sorrows, I want you for all my tomorrows.
That was awesome, Shawn, and we're going to hear another song from you at the end of the show. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited that I finally get to be here and talk to you guys.
Well, Shawn, I know you have some really exciting news to announce, and I already know what it is. And I know you've told your thousands of followers online what it is, but can you tell our viewers at home now?
I did, yes. So I have officially signed a development deal with SSM Nashville Records, located on Music Row in Nashville. So, yeah.
So what does that mean exactly? What is a new development deal?
So a development deal is a little bit different from an actual record deal. So a development deal basically gets you started, and unfortunately in the music industry it is about having the right connections, and this record label obviously can do that for me. And so basically a development deal is giving me 5 songs that I'm going to record and have mastered, and one of those songs they will exclusively promote across the US and the UK. And yeah, so it's just like starting my brand and getting more followers, and yeah, getting my music out there to the right places so that we can get this thing going.
So how did they find you as an artist? I'm sure there are lots of people at home that would love to have the same kind of deal happen to them. So how did it come about for you?
I was wondering the same thing. I was like, when they reached out to me, I was just like, how? But they found my music on Spotify. I sponsored some of my ads in Nashville and throughout the U.S. and different places and different locations. And yeah, so they came across my music online, streaming it. And the director of A&R from SSM Nashville, Greg Mann, he directly reached out to me, and that's how we kind of got acquainted.
Wow.
Yeah.
So does this mean you moved to Nashville? What's the next step?
Yeah, so I mean, eventually that will probably be the case. However, right now, so the main thing is getting down there to write these 5 songs with different songwriters, hit songwriters from Music Row and from Nashville, like some of the biggest names, and then of course to record them and pick out which song we want to exclusively promote. So that'll kind of be a decision made between me and the record label. So that's going to take some time as well. So that will be the longest period of time that I'll be there to start off, and then from there it's just kind of seeing where the life of the song goes, and because I'll have to go on tour, like radio tour across the states, and so it's hard to say where I'm going to end up, to be honest with you.
Well, I know SSM Nashville covers a lot of the expensive, or all the expensive in terms of producing the music, promoting it, but you have a GoFundMe page too, to get yourself down there, to get settled.
Right.
Can you tell me a little bit about that and how people from our area who want to contribute to your journey can help?
Yeah, for sure. So the GoFundMe that we had set up is basically just because my everyday life that I'm going to have to drop. Like, I have 2 jobs right now that I work, and of course traveling down to Nashville, I'm not going to be able to keep those jobs, and of course, like, getting down there, they do, like, they have an apartment ready for me down there, and they do cover costs of like the musical part of it, but it's just like my everyday funding until my everyday finances, I should say, until my music starts bringing in money. So yeah, so basically getting down there, and travel is obviously different right now, so you have to pay for quarantine, like quarantining in hotels and whatnot and stuff like that. So there's just a lot of incurred costs that do come along with that, that dropping my 2 jobs and not having a daily income is going to affect, for sure.
And what's life been like for you as a musician? I know you represent the reality, which is working hard, not just playing, but having to support yourself. Let's start off from the beginning of your journey. When did you first realize you were musical?
Well, I was born into it, I guess I should say. Like, my whole entire family, the Richard family, are very musical. They performed as bands for my entire life, for most of their lives, and there's a picture of me on my website, I think, of me in a guitar case, like as an infant, like maybe a month old or something like that. So I would say from day one, but I actually like started performing and picking up a guitar when I was probably still in my single digits, and then about 10 years old, I think, is when I started getting out there, between the 10 and 13 age, I guess, and performing at benefit concerts and church concerts, and my aunts and uncles just kept on pushing me to get me out there, and yeah, that's kind of what triggered it.
You're not just a talented musician, you're also a songwriter too, which I think makes you stand out as well. What's the songwriting process like for you? Where do you go for inspiration? Who inspires you?
Yeah, that's a good question. I always played around with songwriting, like, growing up, but it wasn't until I was about 20 years old, 19 or 20, that I started realizing, like, okay, this is something I really want to do. And after, like, writing a couple of songs, I was like playing them for people and getting good feedback. And of course, you're your own worst critic, so I didn't necessarily think that they were the best songs. But then, like, you start experiencing life and real life stories and emotions, and you kind of just put those things into your writing, and you feel more confident about it when it's something that you've dug deep into your soul to get out there. Yeah, so, like, I guess just with all of the experiences and things that I've went through in life, that's what gives me my inspiration. I could go, I mean, I know this isn't the way musicians are supposed to write. Sometimes there's a time limit, so when I get to Nashville, I'm going to have to write 5 songs, but I could go months and months without writing a song, and then one day I'm just like, okay, I'm in the zone now, and I have to do it, and I've got to get these words down. So it really can just be any time for me. Like, most of the time when I'm driving, I get all of these thoughts, and I have to get home and write them down right away, and that's probably where I would get my most inspiration from.
Can we talk a little bit about being a musician this year in particular?
Mm-hmm.
I've been lucky enough to see you twice this year. Once at Fog Fest, which was a different kind of socially distant concert, and then once at a virtual. We were streaming a concert that with no audience, but I was lucky to be one of the 3 people there. What's it been like this year not being able to tour as normal, has it had an effect on you as an artist? And what do you miss most, and what have you taken from this particular year?
Yeah, I think that like all artists could say the same. It's definitely been devastating. At the beginning of this year, like I had released my second song in April, Right Side of Wrong, and planning up until April, there was still a little bit of unknown, and I had planned a release party, and from that release party on, I had so many shows lined up for the summer. I was looking at getting into Cavendish, just multiple shows throughout the summer, and I was looking at even getting done work then so that I could just perform for the summer. So that really threw a curve in performing, as for any musicians, I'm sure. But then you just kind of got used to the fact that you do a live show every now and then. You don't want to bore people too much on Facebook, but so that became the new normal for me. And the first couple of times it was, you know, kind of disappointing to think like this is what it's going to be for a little while, and you finish your song and nobody's clapping. But now when I do it, I've learned to feel the same way that I feel when I'm out playing until the new normal comes, or until the normal comes back again. But you just kind of get excitement from seeing all the people pop up, and it's kind of nice that people can watch from their own home, and that people that can't get out to shows any other time. It just kind of makes you feel really grateful for what you had in the past and hope that what we can have in the future. Yeah, it really shows what you take for granted, for sure.
A lot of people look up to you in our community, and I think a lot more will now that your music's getting even a wider audience. What is your advice to musicians who are hoping to follow a similar path? You obviously work very hard, not just as a musician, but having two jobs and having to support the dream in all kinds of ways. And you have social media platforms. What advice do you give to people who want to follow your path?
You have to be very driven and very dedicated. I mean, I am at fault a lot of those times too, because I find myself getting into ruts where I'm like, okay, it's not going to go anywhere. It's like I should just give it up now and just live my day-to-day life. But you have to stay motivated, and you have to continue playing, picking up your guitar every day, because there's a lot of business that comes with it, obviously. Like, since I've signed this deal, I might have picked up my guitar twice, but you have to force yourself to do that. Stay true to the music, like continue writing in the meantime. But yeah, just work really hard and be humble and just be thankful for all of the opportunities that you do get. I know that to date, right, even before I found out about the record label, I was just every show that I got to play, every bar, or you know, like you're thankful for it and you're excited for it, and show that on your socials, and just keep everybody posted. You know, keep posting videos and just show that this is what you really want to do, and don't ever give up. Yeah.
Why is Charlotte County, where you're from, how's that been so instrumental in your career? Is it a particularly supportive community, and does it have a lot of music venues? What has your experience been growing up here as a musician?
I think I have to thank my family for that again. But no, Charlotte County, I wouldn't have wanted to grow up anywhere else, because in a small town or a small community, I find that you do have more support rather than being in a big city where there's so many people. Everybody just seems to be so interested and invested in what you're doing and trying to support you any way they can, whether it's just playing at benefit concerts or churches, like I said. In a smaller community, I think that's definitely the biggest part of being a musician, is all the small things that kind of come together to make you successful. And yeah, like everybody's just so supportive and so excited for any success that you have.
I remember you telling me that the mayor of St. Stephen was at St. John Idol when you won. Can you tell me a bit about that experience? Was that one of the moments when you realized, oh, a bigger audience is really paying attention and liking what they hear?
When I was in St. John Idol in 2017, that stage is my favorite stage. It will always be my home stage. There's just so much that I grew from that. I mean, and when you think about St. John, it's not that big either, but it honestly, like the crowds that come out every week for St. John Idol, not just when I was in it, but every year, it's just so amazing. Like the actual night that I won, I took a minute, like when I was singing my song, which was Humble and Kind, actually, it's kind of my anthem song, to look out and just like, there's just so many people squeezed together on that boardwalk stage, and people were crying, and family, like, just so excited for you, and it's so emotional. Like, it's kind of like, is this a taste of what reality is like for someone who's in the music business? And yeah, that night when I looked out and seen Mayor Alan McCachran out there, and I was working at the Algonquin at the time, and our general manager at the time would bring loads of people, and the Algonquin would just support me every week. It was just like you see your town there in front of you, and you've got your mayor, and it's just, yeah, it's definitely very humbling to see that people will travel to support you as well.
Well, now that you have a bigger stage to go to, are there any dream collaborators that you hope to work with, or experiences you are excited to and looking forward to on the next step?
That's a good question. There are many that I would love to collaborate with. Yeah, like in Nashville, I mean, any of the huge stars would be amazing, but also I just want to get together with some new musicians, like, that are kind of in the same league as me right now, or someone that's only been in it for a couple of years that can give me advice. Someone that's, close to my age. I don't know, like Thomas Rhett, or, Brett Young, or Mackenzie Porter, people like that. I would love to collaborate with, for sure.
Well, before we end the show, we pre-recorded you singing your follow-up single, so let's take a listen to that now. Here is Shawn Richard performing Right Side of Wrong.
I really thought you were the one, but I never felt so numb. I gave up everything to be with you. I tried time and time again for days and days I did pretend, when it's so new it shouldn't be so blue. But then I opened up my eyes, I said goodbye to all your lies. What is forever anyway? I think I'm over you today. It's like a month of Mondays when I'm with you. I think I'm better off alone. You never know until you know the words that I could say. There's a few. Maybe I woke up feeling strong, or maybe I woke up on the right side of wrong. I tried time and time again for days and days I did pretend, when it's so new it shouldn't be so blue. Yeah, but then I opened up my eyes, I said goodbye to all your lies. What is forever anyway? I think I'm over you today. It's like a month of Mondays when I'm with you. I think I'm better off alone. You never know until you know the words that I could say. There's a few. Maybe I woke up feeling strong, or maybe I woke up on the right side of wrong. It's the thought of yesterday that made me wanna run away. What is forever anyway? I think I'm over you today. It's like a month of Mondays when I'm with you. What is forever anyway? I think I'm over you today. It's like a month of Mondays when I'm with you. I think I'm better off alone. You never know until you know the words that I could say. There's a few. Maybe I woke up feeling strong, or maybe I woke up on the right side of wrong. The right side of wrong. The right side of wrong.
Where can people go if they want to discover more of your music?
So my music's on any streaming platform, obviously Spotify and iTunes, Amazon Music, they're the biggest, YouTube, I guess they're the biggest platforms for sure that you can reach me on. But if you just like my Facebook page or log on to my website, shawnrichard.com. There's links to all of that on there as well. So yeah, you can find it on any streaming platform.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to following your journey.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you for joining us at home on Southwest Magazine. I'm Vicki Hogarth, and my guest today has been St. Stephen musician Shawn Richard. Shawn's heading to Nashville this spring to hit the studio with SSM Nashville after he signed a new development deal. And although SSM Nashville covers all his music-related expenses, Shawn is fundraising to cover his accommodation costs while he embarks on his dreams in the country music capital. If you'd like to make a donation to Shawn's GoFundMe page, visit gofundme.com/F/Shawn-Richard-music-fund. I'm Vicki Hogarth. Thanks for joining us again. I'll see you next time on Southwest Magazine.
Southwest Magazine is a news and public affairs production of CHCO-TV, New Brunswick's only source for independent community television.
Let me love you. Let me hold you. Yeah, let me